Shalom, it's Rava Rona Matlow with your weekly Shabbat video message in times of Corona. This week we are reading Parashat Tzav, the second parasha in the book of Vayikra or Leviticus. This is also Shabbat HaGadol, the Shabbat immediately preceding Passover. And I think we need to focus mostly on the Haftarah, the prophetic reading, but I just want to point out a parallel between the calendar and our lives right now. In the parasha, God commands Moses to inaugurate the Kohanim, the priests, Aaron and his sons, in order to accept and offer the sacrifices in the Mishkan. And the Israelites are anticipating the inaugural sacrifices, which are done in the following Parasha Shmini. And they find themselves in a strange and unknown place as they are doing this. Likewise, we find ourselves in a strange and unknown place and time, that being Corona. And we are finding ourselves anticipating Passover in a very strange and different way this year, where we don't know exactly how it's going to be. We find it difficult to find the supplies we're accustomed to. We find we can't go to the Siddharim we're used to. Many people can't get out. Others are unhoused and have no assets, and we don't even know how to care for them right now. I've been sending donations all over the place, but is it enough? Of course not. It's never enough. We can't ever do enough work. You know, when the Israelites were donating resources for the Mishkan, they actually described it as malacha, which is called laborious work. When they were donating materials, they didn't call it a korban, which is something that draws you near. They didn't call it an olah, an elevation. They called it malacha, laborious work. And the craftsmen, the artisans said, we have more than enough material. And Moses sent out an order through the camp saying that the Israelites should do no more malacha. We have a very different kind of malacha that we have to do right now because there are so many people that are suffering. In years past, I suggested that people should look at how much they spend on Pesach and at least spend a tenth of that on tithes, on charitable contributions. This year, it should probably be at least as much as you spend on Pesach, giving to food banks or to people on the streets or whatever, because if you have, you're supposed to give. And this year, we really have to give till it hurts because we just don't have another choice. So let's take a look at the Haftarah. This comes from the book of Malachi, which is one of the Tresar, the 12 prophets. People often call them minor prophets because they're short books, but these are not minor. Their messages are very impactful. Now, why is this reading chosen for this Shabbat? Because the ending of it is that the Haftarah says, behold, God sends Eliyahu Hanavi, God sends Elijah the prophet, which of course is a precursor to the era of redemption. And so it's a message of uplifting hope. But the entire preceding selection of verses is horrible. It's horrible. It's about God and theodicy, God punishing the wicked who have spurned God's commandments and done what God told us not to do, and so God punishes them. And how can we, as people who have tried to do the right thing, read this with a straight face without boiling over, without getting furious? How can we read such stuff? We did good. We did the right things. How can we say that we're being punished with Corona when we weren't the ones that were corrupt, when we weren't the ones that were sinning? Why are we being punished because somebody else did such evil? Well, you know what? In other times, people were asking the same questions too. There is no answer. I wish there was. There is no answer for this, except for the following. I believe this with all of my heart. I wrote this in my personal theology theme in seminary, that unlike back in the time of the Nevi'im, the prophets, God doesn't come down and directly talk to us or directly interfere or involve with our planet anymore. God doesn't directly get intermingled with our lives. God is not like the Wizard of Oz pulling the levers behind the curtains. No. God manifests to us, I firmly believe this, by presenting us with opportunities. And it's up to us to have the seichel, have the chokhmah, to have the knowledge and the wisdom, to see when God is giving us an opportunity, to recognize it and take advantage of those opportunities and act to do the right things. And only by acting and doing those right things can we make the world a little bit better. And boy, do we have opportunities right now. So I've given a little bit to tzedakah, to food banks, to people in need. I'm signed up on several different lists to offer pastoral care. I've put it out over all the social media that I'm available if people need help. I'm doing what little I can. I'm on the exclusion list, which means I cannot go to the hospitals and provide direct face-to-face pastoral care, but I'm doing what we can. If everybody did what they could, think how much better of a place this would be. Instead of thinking about me all the time, think about the people who have less than we do. Think about the people who need more than we do. And do for them instead of doing for us. Maybe it will be a little bit better. So maybe that's the lesson we have to take from Corona. Maybe we're all getting a big wake-up call that we need to think about others in this time of Corona. I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom, a wonderful rest, and as this in Pesach, a Chag Kasher v'Sameach, a sweet and wonderful Passover.